So I had a very profound, like a mystical dream last night. And dreams are hard to explain, but it's very, very special. I was standing like, I don't know, on an island or something. And it was like, where is God? Where is God? How do I get home? How do I get home? And that was sort of what was inside the dream. And suddenly I was shown this like castle high up on a hill. And it was like, this is the kingdom of heaven. Up there, come home. And then I saw myself walking like up this mountain, and I felt like, and I became the prodigal son. I literally was walking in the story of the prodigal son. And it even moves me as I talk about it, because as I found myself, and it was a very linear, clear dream, I found myself walking up to this beautiful castle, and the doors flew open, and the light that was in there, and God was in there, and my brother Jesus was in there, and it was just filled with illuminaries and beautiful beings of light, literally welcoming me home. Is that like beautiful or what? I was just absolutely, I opened my eyes and I was like, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. And I felt that the prodigal son story, not that I'm going to tell it today, we'll tell that at Metaphysical Bible Camp coming up in August, but the story really is, in so many ways, our story of finding our way home. And times like these call us to go deeper. They are calling us home. Not only are they calling us home to rest and to be nurtured and cared for, which is beautiful, of course, but they're calling us home, I believe, to be a part of the expansion of love and light, so we can be a part of a birthing of a new era, a new consciousness. We talk about this a lot here. When we are in crisis, it is a cry for the presence of God, and it is an opening for the birthing of a more loving, expanded humanity. I'm highly committed to do my part and to drag you along if I have to be a part of creating this new consciousness that we all want. We all know, we all sense and feel on some level of our being, because we talk about it. You imagine a more loving world. You imagine a humanity with more generous sharing. You imagine yourself having what you need so that you no longer have to place any attention upon worrying or trying to get it or figure this out. This is the consciousness of oneness. This is what God is. It says in A Course in Miracles, child of God, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. You were created to create the beautiful, the good, and the holy. Everything that is behind it is this magnificent creative energy, this pure power. And it goes and flows in the direction of what it is, what the channel for it is. It becomes a flower. It becomes a desk. It becomes a mountain. It becomes an ocean. It becomes universes upon universes upon universes. It becomes you and me. Before this form, way back, is just the presence of God as pure potential. Now you are a very, very unique expression of this pure potential, because you have been given the most amazing gift, which is the power to consciously create. This is gigantic. This is gigantic, oh Holy One. A flower will just be a flower, and it will do it very well. A tree will be a tree. A squirrel will be a squirrel. They will be who they are, and they will live what they are called to be. But they don't have conscious choice to redirect or recreate or co-create their path. That has been given especially to you. And how do we create this life? How do we use this power? It is through our word. We go all the way back to the word. John 1:1, it says, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. So the word is the creative tool. It is that which brings this power, this vibration, this pure energy into a particular form, into an existence. And that word, the first word, is God. Not only is the first word God, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. So immediately this direction is there is only God, one power, one presence, nothing else happening. Everything that is can be backed all the way up to this divine emanation. In Genesis 1:1, all the way to the beginning of the Bible, it says, in the beginning, God created. God, the word, what did it do? It created. That it had an impulse within itself to move into creation. And if I'm not going to read all of this in Genesis 1, but I just want to go over it because it's so cool. And God said, let there be light. God said, let there be light. And there was light. And then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit trees. And God said, let there be light in the firmament to divide day and night. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that have life. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, her kind. So over and over and over, the creation process is right there. And God said. And then the last one, and this is interesting. I don't fully understand it, but I think Spirit's going to work through and we'll see what happens. And God said, let us make human in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over it all. Now, this is interesting because it is the first time where it represents a plural presence. So here, and God said, let us. So what was there? Was he at a conference table with other enlightened beings? I mean, who is this us? What is this us that God is speaking about? In our image, in our likeness. This is fascinating because God did not say, let me make in my image, after my likeness. God said, let us over our likeness. So what that represents to me, dare I be so bold, is you were there. You as a part of the inceptive power of creation. Not you personally named Jane or you named Paul. I'm not saying you were in this particular incarnation there designing the program, but you as the expression and creative power of God. There was a sense where God moved from singular to multiple, still the same power, still all moving from the first concept. Now, you may have heard this before, but I love to go back to this every once in a while. And God saw everything that God had made, and behold, it was very good. It was very good. So God's word, what God named all of God's creation, is good. So stick with me. At the inceptive creative power, God's word, what is it from which it all comes? It comes from good. God goodness. They're the same, but add one extra O in there. God the good. God the good can be found where you locate your good is your God. This is the nature of being. You can rest in this. You can relax back into the knowing that the nature of God is good. That you are the nature of God, and therefore your inherent pure power, essence of being is good. It is only good. Breathe that in. Accept the freedom that gives to you today. So this means that the story of not enough is not true. This means that the belief that you're bad or wrong or guilty is not true. This means that everything that's been made up that is not of the goodness of God is simply that. It is made up. Now, you, creative power, creative being, you also, when you create something, it comes from the inception of who you are. And more specifically, it comes from the inception of the vibration of where you're focusing your attention. Stay with me because this is important. One person can create a magnificent corporation. And because the inception from which it comes is a desire to make a difference in the world, to help humanity, to be a place of love and light unto the world, that whole creation comes from the word, the thought, the energy of who this person is and from which they created it from. The very next person can make a business, a corporation, and from them, it is created from, I'm going to prove something. I'm going to conquer the world. I'm going to reach success and compete and win the game. Now, that company, because of the original inception, the word from which it flows becomes that. This is vitally important because you are creating all the time. There's not a point in your life. Levi mentioned the law of attraction is one of the things that he talks about on his show. And the law of attraction draws unto itself its own likeness. And that likeness goes to the word that is living in you in the inception of what it is you're creating. So the invitation today is for us to be very conscious and aware of, before we begin something, locate yourself. Where are you? Very specifically, very day-to-day practicality. You're walking into a conversation. You're going to talk to a family member, a friend, your spouse, your lover, whatever. And you're going in to have what you deem to be an important conversation. Pause and check out where you're coming from. Because I promise you, if you have a little thing in there that says they're wrong, if you have a little thing in there that's like, I'm going to fight, I'm going to win this one, I'm going to prove my point. If that is in the inception, if that is in the energy of the word from which this conversation comes, you're going to see what's going to happen. You're going to be on the other end of the conversation. This is where we often do this. We go, I don't know. I just came to talk to you. I just wanted to talk about this and have an idea. But if you were deeply honest, if you had the ability to be more self-aware, which you do if you're willing, if you focus your attention to say, here's the result I got. I went in thinking I was going to cause connection, and I caused greater discord. Now, I created that experience. No blame, no shame. God is good, I'm good. You're good. But let's back up and look, wait a minute, what's in here? What's in here? What's in here? What resentment have I been harboring? What regret or rehashing or unsaid thing that is living inside of me? What snuck in there? Or, you know what I mean? What found its way into the inception of the conversation and then proved its presence? Look, you don't need to argue with this. You created it. Now, step back and let it talk to you. Let it tell you. Become the observer and just notice. And you will see your story. You will see where your prayer needs to flow. You will see your word in action. And the gift of being conscious and watching your creation gives you the power to begin backing up, changing it, backing up, changing it, backing up, changing it. And ultimately, before you step into any creation, be it a conversation, be it a business, be it writing a song, be it doing anything creative, you have the time to sit back and go, there's something a little off in me, so I'm going to pray first. I'm going to invite God. This is where we can begin changing our creation, going back, and before it's activating God, the goodness that I am. And even consciously choosing the vibration, the particular tone of God that I want to bring into creation. So let's go back to this conversation. Before you enter it, you pause and you say, my intention is love. That is the inception of this conversation. Therefore, my first prayer is love, change me. Love, focus my mind and help me to listen and help me to let love lead into this conversation. And moving into a conversation with love as the power and the creative energy makes for a very different experience. But it also means I'm going to have to listen and learn something. I'm probably going to bump up against a part of myself. You see, if I'm just attacking or going in to get them, it's easy. They're the problem. But if I let love lead, if I let curiosity be the vein that leads me into the conversation, then I'm open to look within and I'm open to grow. It doesn't always feel great, but the outcome is greater. Why? Because then you get the deeper connection. You get the, we've come together. I would say we come together in God, but you don't need to name it God. It doesn't matter. We came together. You felt the connection. And why? Because you caused the connection. And how did you cause the connection? By taking the time to back up to in the beginning. In the beginning of this connection, what is there? In the beginning, what am I calling it? God looked upon creation and named it good. You can look upon creation right now and name your world good. That is a powerful step into transformation because you can't change anything you reject. You can't transform something that you haven't even owned. How is that possible? I can't stand here and change that house over there. That's not possible. I can stand here and change this house over here. And I do that by naming it the goodness of God and then getting very, very deeply interested and paying attention to what's in here. And then again, I want to emphasize this, the willingness to be patient, to the willingness to refrain from anything that's going to happen until you've located yourself in the goodness of God. Your whole existence, I believe, people are into like, what's your purpose? What are your guiding values? We do that for companies, we do that for ourselves. This is kind of the idea, like what is the foundational core essence of God that is leading you in this particular incarnation? That's an interesting question, isn't it? And if you can just name it and claim it. I mean, you are the divine creator. You can say, I am here to be love. I am here to bring happiness to the world. I am here to prosper abundantly so that I can help others experience the glory of God that is infinite and unlimited. I am here to be a peacemaker and to bring peace where it is wanted and needed. The essence of God that you choose to focus on and to anchor yourself in is what you become. It becomes your word. Thoughts, words, before they move into form. It is the energy behind it. Paramahansa Yogananda, I reference him often, the founder of the Self-Realization Fellowship, the author of one of my favorite books, Autobiography of a Yogi. He says, you must not let your life run in the ordinary way. Do something that nobody else has done. Something that will dazzle the world. Show that God's creative principle works in you. Please breathe this in as I say it again. You must not let your life run in the ordinary way. What that means is you must not let your life just move into status quo, to move into the herd of unconscious people just moving through time, being manipulated and controlled by the systems and the way the wind blows. You must not let that ordinary experience of being be yours, because that is an unconscious existence. Do something that nobody else has done. Now, that's quite an invitation. Do something that nobody else has done. Something that will dazzle the world. I love that. I love the word dazzle. I mean, come on. That's an amazing word. This invitation, now let's see, the mind can probably move already to, I can't, I'm too limited, I can't. That's bull crap. Come on. You are the life and the love of God, the original creator. That is good. That's who you are. You don't even need to figure it out. You could just be curious. You could say, what is that something that I'm here to do? Well, how is it? Because also someone else may have done something that you're called to do, but it doesn't have your vibration on it. It didn't come from you. You make it unique because it's you. But be deeply interested. See, this invitation is what's inside me. What's inside me? And how do I bring that out to dazzle the world? My favorite Gospel of Thomas quote is, if you do not bring forth what is within you, what is within you will destroy you. If you do bring forth what is within you, what is within you will save you. Bring forth means to create. If you create that life that is inside of you and you bring it forth as the gift to the world, it shall be new. It shall be original. There will be a way, a way, simple or big, where it is brand new and no one else has done it before. And it will dazzle the world. It will wake up the world. It will be a part of the creative life. So that something that will dazzle the world, show that God's creative principle works in you. And my friends, it does. The creative principle works always in you. Waking up spiritually means that you are becoming a conscious co-creator with this creative principle. You're directing it towards that which you desire. But now you're backing up and going, okay, this is what I desire, but what's in the word? What's in the initial creative energy? Let me check that out and let me clean that up and let me get as clear as I can, not perfect, but let me get as clear as I can so that as I move into bringing this desire into the world, it becomes a part of the wave of love, the wave of God, the wave of transformation, the upliftment. This is what's in you. Man, I get high on this stuff. It's awesome. It's you. The creative power lives in you. I end this talk as I began. Child of God, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Choose those words for your conversations, for your work, for everything that you do, for cleaning the house, for mowing the lawn, for everything you do. Take a moment and choose. I am here to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Let it flow from me into the world. That's the good news today. And that will lift us up. That will be a part of the world that we're creating. You have a magnificent part. And I ask you to please, this week, look for that which is in you that is new and will dazzle the world, and dare to begin bringing it forward. Take a deep breath as we welcome Levi back and move into some prayer. Take a deep breath.
There is a sweet anointing in this sanctuary. There is a stillness in the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come lay down the burdens you have carried, for in the sanctuary, God is here.
And it is in this moment that I speak this prayer for each one of us, knowing that this prayer brings us to the very first, the very beginning. We have found the beginning, which is the Word. It is the creative impulse of God, whose nature has been already called and declared as good. I am that. I am the goodness of God. I am the creative power of God. And as this is true for me, this is true for each one of us. We meet in the agreement of our oneness, of our divinity, of the enormous power that is at hand. And I speak this prayer for us, knowing that this power that can light up universes upon universes upon universes flows through us as love. It flows through us as solutions. It flows through us as generosity and connection, support and upliftment. It flows through us as creative expression and that which dazzles the world with magnificence. It is the light and life of God. And we stand and we meet in the agreement that that is who we are. We're not bashful of the truth of God. We're not arrogant either. We are just standing in the center of it, allowing it to move through us. And I know for each one of us that we are the loving channel through which it flows, the generous channel, the channel that knows the truth and is available to create a more generous, loving world. Holy Spirit, use us this day. Use us for the goodness of God to be revealed. Take a deep, deep breath.
Oh, come lay down the burdens you have carried, for in the sanctuary, God is here.
And I'm grateful for the fulfillment of this prayer. I truly am. I know that it is fulfilled, and I know that we have all been transformed and expanded. And in gratitude, I release this prayer now into the action of the law. It is done, and so it is. Amen.